Hello everybody, it's VG Time back again with another deck profile. This time I'm trying out a new format for doing these deck profiles, so if you like the way this is done, please leave a comment in the comment section. If you think this way is trash and you want me to go back to the old way, let me know. But I'm just trying to switch some things up on the channel, see if I can make this a little bit more engaging for you guys. So, as it should be obvious, we are looking at a Syn Shenron deck. We have the leader over here in the corner. And basically, this deck is pretty inexpensive to make and is very powerful. We got our pre-release yesterday. I was able to get most of the cards fairly easily. And let's just go by card. So starting with the leader, he has 2 autos on the front side and 2 autos on the back. On the front side, his auto is when he attacks, he gets to look at the top 5 cards of the deck and add a Shadow Dragon from it to his hand. And then his second auto is that at the end of the turn, you get to choose one of your Shadow Dragons and put it from rest mode to active mode. So as you can tell from the front side, you kind of have to lean heavy into Shadow Dragons in order to take full advantage of this leader's skills. Its awakening skill, similar to Topo and several other leaders, are tied to the Unison. So that way you're not going to be, your opponent won't be able to stall you on Awaken. But basically, if he's at 3 or less life, or you have a yellow Unison in play with a specified cost of 4, you can draw 2 cards, untap 1 energy, and flip them over. On the backside, he becomes Syn Shenron Negative Energy Overflow. So the auto on the backside is a typical leader auto where you get to draw a card when he attacks. And then he has a second auto that at the end of the turn, you get to untap all your Shadow Dragons. This skill kind of reminds a lot of like Galactic Emperor Frieza from set, I think 1 it was. Another card it kind of reminds me of is Planet Vegeta for Great Apes. But the ability to be able to be aggressive on your turn and then untap all your battle cards to be defensive on your turn or to even protect this battle card itself, very strong. And then it has an activate main where you can pay 6 to bring back up to 7 Shadow Dragons from your drop area with different names. Currently, we do not have 7 individual Shadow Dragons. There are promos as well as an ultimate that you get from the Store Championship in August that help rectify that. But this is what we have available to us now, and this, I think, is a great starting point for the archetype. So first, we're going to start with the Unison Mecha Cabora does a lot of amazing things. He's a very strong Unison. He is a blocker, which is, I think, one of only 2 blocker Unisons. And he has an auto once per turn that if he loses a counter due to an opponent's attack, you get to rest one of your opponent's cards. Then he has +1 where you could give him a counter, draw a card, choose one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, and prevent it from restanding until the end of your opponent's next turn. And then lastly, a -4, take control of one of your opponent's battle cards. So each of those effects are fairly blowout. The +1 could keep a boss monster locked down indefinitely. And then the -4 could easily swing the tide of a game because it takes the card, and if I didn't state before, it also switches that card to active mode. So if they play out some really dumb ultimate or something like that, usually those things will have barrier. You could just take it from them and use it to win the game. Now, to make sure that we get to see that Unison in a timely manner, we do play 4 copies of Giru Dragon Ball Discoverer. He searches not only for Mecha Cabora, but he also searches for a yellow battle card with cost of 1. This helps you, of course, get into your Shenron chains. But it also gets you several other cards, which you see right next to it. First being our super combo, Counterblast Sun Goten. This card right here is, Sun Gohan, my bad. This card right here is highly underrated. It comes into play, it rests one of your opponent's battle cards. Doesn't care what size it is. Just come into play, rest it. Then it has an auto where if your leader is mono yellow and you combo with it, and you're at 4 or less life, you can either choose to draw a card, which is pretty generic, but if it's your turn, you get to choose one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode with cost 5 or less and KO it. That's pretty clean. For 1 energy, you get to out anything 5 or less as long as it doesn't have barrier by playing the card, swinging with something else, and then comboing the card off. Next up, we have Master Roshi Forge the Will. I chose to go with this as my negate for the deck for several reasons. The main one being the power of the Gotenks leader. The Gotenks leader being able to just draw incidental cards from you playing the game is strong enough for me not to want to incentivize him by playing an extra card negate. He also benefits from being able to be searchable by Geru, which none of the extra card negates are able to do. And then you could combo with him later on to help yourself stay alive. Now, second row, we'll get to Burning and Kamehameha a little later. We have the 2 Shenron chains. So we have the negative energy 1-star ball and the negative energy 2-star ball. The 1-star ball goes into the Syn Shenron, and the 2-star ball goes into the Haze Shenron. And both of them serve very different purposes, but are very powerful. So the 1-star ball chain, first of all, both of the 1-drops do the same thing. They're both immune to your opponent's card skills, and they both can't attack. And they both, you could sack for a yellow energy as an activate main to put the next step in the chain up. So in the case of Syn Shenron, it gets Syn Shenron with a cost of 2 to 4 and puts it into play. That has implications later on with the ultimate, but let's not get into that too much. So the 4-drop is a 19k blocker. It has an auto that if it is killed or removed from the battle area due to an opponent's skill, you get to put the 1-star ball back into play and you draw a card. It has another auto that says that when it comes into play, you get to choose one of your opponent's battle cards, or that's 4 or less, or one of your opponent's leader cards, and keep it from attacking the following turn. And then when we get to the 9-drop, which could come out as early as turn 2 because its EX evolve as a single yellow. When you evolve it on the 4-drop, it has it's not really cold bloodlust, but it's a very powerful effect that whatever battle card that's being played by your opponent, you get to choose it, and this also ignores barrier and negates the skills. So it doesn't stop pending autos like cold bloodlust does, but if there's any activate abilities or any keyword skills, it gets rid of all that for the turn. Then we go to the 2-star ball lineup. We go from the 1-drop to the Haze Shenron 3-drop. This guy right here, when he comes into play, he returns the 1-drop to your hand from the drop area. So that way you could recover, start up a second chain, things like that. He's a 15k critical, which is pretty good early on in the game to be aggressing with. And then for free, you could evolve the 4-drop on top of it to be a 20k double striker. And when you evolve the 4-drop, it untaps the card that it evolves on top of. So that way, you could attack for the 15 crit, play this card on top, and then have a 20k double striker. Now, this 4-drop is, I think, low-key the best card in the deck. It has an ability when it attacks or when it is comboed to be able to pitch a Shadow Dragon from your hand and to KO one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode. So it doesn't care what turn it's on, doesn't care what size the battle card is. That right there is good enough to put the Fear of God in your opponent once you do it once. So this card outs every ultimate. That includes the Gotenks ultimate that people were kind of raging about because how fast that thing comes down and how it negates the skills of battle cards. When it's in the combo area, it is not a battle card, it is a combo card. So you could combo this card from your hand, pitch a card, and completely pop that card for 0 energy. So you don't have to worry about any of your rest mode energy getting popped or your battle cards getting popped, depending on what the board state is. Next up, we have the utility. we have 4 copies of Poutine the Dark Sorcerer, which is right here. This card right there might actually go down by 1 because it is unique, but what I like about it is also free. If your opponent's card is switched to rest mode by one of your card skills, you get to just play this card. Your leader does have to be yellow though. She is kind of bad at stats wise. She's a 3-drop 5k, but she does have barrier and a useful auto that says that if your opponent plays a battle card with a skill or activates a counter, you get to choose one of their battle cards and rest it. That's pretty disgusting because, again, if they're evolving or union fusioning or doing anything like that, as long as the card doesn't have barrier, she could just rest the card and make all their efforts pointless. Same thing, if you're swinging, they have a blocker up, but they want to negate first. If they negate, she gets to tap the blocker. Now your next attacks could go through without any hiccup. Then we have the Son Goku Absolute Annihilation. This right here is to act as a deterrent for all these free counterplays that exist in the format. I'll show you an example because like a lot of people think about the body counterplays, which are like the Frieza, the Yamcha, the Vegeta. Those cards are all amazing, but they're also all SRs. So if you're going to a locals where the play group may not throw tons of money into the game, that's when you run into a situation where you have a lot more extra card negates getting counterplays getting put into the deck. That also counts towards the free ones that exist for multicolor battle cards. So basically, you know, you got cards like this Dark Dragon Slaying Bullet in this cycle. You got cards like Beerus Ball, Absolute Release Ball, you know, cards like that that this card punishes. So basically, anytime an opponent activates an extra card, they have to tap energy in order to do so. If they don't have the energy to tap, they cannot play the card. So when they have out their Unison, they tapped out and they think they have their green negate that is going to be able to Nimbus the turn, they can't do it because they don't have the energy in order to use it. Same thing if they're tapped out and they're going for and you're going for a play and they try to use one of those sparking negates, or they're trying to use one of those life take counterplays that the multicolor cards have, they can't use it because they have to be able to tap the energy. This is a great card. It is also unique. That's the reason why I'm only running it at 2. And then lastly, for battle cards, we have 2 copies of Hellfighter 17, the Neutralizer. Anybody who has ever played this card knows this card is great. It basically outs most of the boss monsters in the game because he just comes down and he negates their skills. So when you have like things like the Cell Ultimate that people are afraid of, they play this, negate his skill. It no longer has quad strike. It no longer has dual attack. It's just a 40k vanilla. Same thing for countless other cards. It does not, though, stop pending autos, so it doesn't stop coming to play abilities. So you kind of just have to be aware of what you're doing. You can also run the Vegeta in the deck, but this guy right here gets around Deflect, which is the reason why I play him. And then lastly, we get into the Burning Kamehameha. If you have a Unison out there, it only costs 1 instead of 2. Already good. And then it has an activate main where if your opponent has 4 cards in rest mode, you get to choose one of their battle cards in rest mode, KO it. So for a long time, I thought it said 4 battle cards in rest mode, and that's why I was like, oh, this card is not that great. But 4 cards in rest mode, it's an easy threshold to hit nowadays between leaders, Unison, and energy, as well as battle cards themselves. So for the most point of time, you're going to have a 1 energy answer to a large threat that you could just KO. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed what you've seen, check out another video on this channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And stay tuned for more content.